Tyler believed he could humble the new kid by spitting in his face publicly, but he had no idea Elijah was a black belt, disciplined to maintain composure under pressure. Elijah Garner's first day at Lincoln Ridge Middle School wasn't what he'd imagined. The morning sun painted the cracked sidewalks of Fresno, California just right with a lingering chill from the night. His mom dropped him off, a gentle hand on his neck, offering a warm smile before he stepped out. He adjusted his backpack, drew a deep breath, and walked towards the main building, feigning indifference to the familiar new kid gaze, like he'd arrived from another world. Inside, the air hung heavy with the scent of floor polish, overcooked tater tots, and adolescent hormones. Elijah didn't mind. His only goal was to remain unnoticed long enough to acclimate. His homeroom teacher, Mr. Langdon, seemed decent enough, a tall man with graying temples and sleeves rolled up, as if he'd been teaching forever. He introduced Elijah without much ceremony. "This is Elijah Garner. He's from Bakersfield. Let's make him feel welcome." Then it was back to attendance. Elijah settled into the back row. No one spoke to him, no notes were passed. He preferred it that way. But schools like Lincoln Ridge operated on unspoken rules. Elijah quickly grasped the dynamics. There were the boisterous kids, the quiet ones, the invisible ones, and then there were kids like Tyler Merrick. Tyler wasn't one to sit still. He moved through the halls as if they were his personal domain, always talking, always laughing loud enough for everyone to hear, even if the joke wasn't funny. People chuckled anyway, some out of fear, some just to survive. Elijah first encountered him at lunch on Monday. Tyler brazenly cut the line, then turned to the girl behind him, commenting on the smell of new kids and bad cafeteria fish. He locked eyes with Elijah as he spoke. Elijah didn't flinch, just kept moving forward, gaze fixed on his tray. That evening at home, Elijah's mom inquired about school. "It's fine," he replied, dishing rice onto his plate. "Meet anyone yet?" He shrugged. "A few." She observed him a moment longer than he liked, then smiled and let it go. By Wednesday, Elijah had found his rhythm. He charted the low-traffic hallways, sat at the periphery of cafeteria tables with headphones half in, enough to be left alone but not appear rude. He kept his voice soft when teachers called on him, never giving them a reason to scrutinize him. But Tyler kept circling. On the basketball court, Elijah passed a group of boys, Tyler among them. "Hey, look," Tyler announced, loud enough for all to hear. "It's Mr. Mute." A couple of others snickered. Elijah paused, turned to face him. "Got something to say?" he asked, calm as still water. Tyler smirked. "Just wondering if you're broken or just scared to talk." Elijah met his gaze for a second, then simply said, "Neither," and walked away. Tyler disliked that. He craved control, he thrived on reactions, and Elijah offered none. That made him a threat. But Tyler wasn't finished, he just hadn't decided how far he'd push it. By Thursday morning, the atmosphere around Elijah felt different. He hadn't done anything extraordinary, no grand speeches, no flashy moves, but people were watching him now. A few kids had witnessed that moment on the court, the way Elijah stood there, calm, unyielding, simply looking at Tyler. It wasn't the look of fear. It was the kind of look that made Tyler feel smaller than he preferred and that made Tyler restless. Elijah had gym second period. They were doing partner drills. Push-ups, sit-ups, sprint relays. When Coach Ziegler told them to pair up, most kids rushed to their friends. Elijah walked toward the bleachers, waiting for the stragglers. Tyler saw his opening. He stepped directly into Elijah's path, arms wide, a mocking smile on his face. "Partner up with me, new guy," Tyler declared loudly. Elijah met his gaze. "I'm good." "Oh no, you and me, we're gonna be best buds," Tyler said, clapping him hard on the shoulder, a little too hard. The coach glanced over but said nothing, probably assuming they were just being boys. The workout began, sit-ups, push-ups, sprints. Tyler turned every movement into a game, adding a slap here, a shove there. Elijah remained unreactive, not once. But Tyler was observing, searching for weakness. Then came the relay. Tyler stood behind Elijah, waiting to slap his hand as he ran back from the cone. "Faster, turtle," he yelled. Elijah didn't even glance. He ran, tapped the cone, returned, and tagged Tyler with a clean clap. Tyler smacked his hand harder than necessary, then deliberately stumbled and announced loudly for everyone to hear. "He's got butterfingers, probably can't even hold a pencil straight." No one laughed this time. After class, Elijah lingered to tie his shoes. Tyler also lingered. "Hey," Tyler said. Elijah looked up. "You act like you're better than everyone." Elijah blinked. "No, I just don't talk when I don't have anything worth saying." Tyler stepped closer, too close. "You calling me dumb?" Elijah didn't flinch. "I'm saying you talk too much." That struck a nerve. You could see it hit Tyler. He backed off, but his eyes burned. Later that day, word had already begun to circulate around campus. Nothing specific, just whispers. A kid who stood up to Tyler without saying much. A kid who didn't laugh, didn't flinch, didn't try to conform. The thing about kids that age, they sense power shifts like animals in a pack. And Tyler? He felt his grip slipping. He couldn't let it go. That afternoon, just before lunch, Elijah walked into the cafeteria and found his usual table half occupied. 3 sixth graders sat there, heads down, munching pizza. Elijah said nothing. He simply sat at the end of the bench and unwrapped his sandwich. That's when Tyler made his move. He approached with 2 of his boys, Camden and Diego, both more followers than anything else. Tyler slammed the edge of the table with his tray, loud enough to make the 6th graders look up and slide away. Then he turned to Elijah. "You know, I've been thinking about you," Tyler said loudly, smiling. Elijah chewed, said nothing. "You're not better than anyone here. Just 'cause you're quiet doesn't make you smarter or cooler or stronger." Elijah set his sandwich down. "I never said I was." Tyler leaned in, his voice now low. "But you think it." There was a pause, one of those moments where everything hangs in the air like a held breath. Then Elijah said, "You talk like you're trying to convince yourself of something." Tyler blinked. That one hurt. He straightened up, his smile gone. His fingers gripped the tray tighter. People nearby were starting to turn around. A few kids nudged their friends and pointed. But Tyler wasn't looking for words anymore. He wanted control, and he was about to go too far. Thursday lunchtime. The cafeteria buzzed. Forks scraped plastic trays. Sneakers squeaked on the old tile floor. Voices bounced off the walls in every direction. Elijah stood near the milk cooler, waiting his turn in line. His tray was empty, but his head was full. Math test results, his mom's part-time job interview, the chicken nuggets he hoped wouldn't be frozen in the middle. Behind him, a brief hush in the noise. A ripple of silence too subtle to notice unless you were truly paying attention. "Yo." Tyler's voice cut through. Elijah didn't turn. He knew who it was. He grabbed a chocolate milk from the cooler and stepped forward. "Hey," Tyler said again, louder. "You got wax in your ears?" Elijah turned his head halfway. "No." "Then why you ignoring me?" The kid in front of Elijah moved up in line. Elijah followed, still calm, still quiet. Tyler stepped right up behind him, standing too close. Elijah could feel his breath. "You think you're better than me?" Tyler asked, this time not even feigning a joke. Elijah didn't answer. "You got some nerve," Tyler said, "coming in here with your silence, acting like you're too good for the rest of us." Elijah turned around, his face unreadable. "You're doing a lot right now," he said. That was it. That was the line. Tyler's face changed. He stepped forward, barely a foot between them now. His hand twitched, and for a second it looked like he might shove Elijah. But instead he spat right in Elijah's face. The entire cafeteria seemed to freeze. A tray clattered somewhere in the background. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. You could have heard a pin drop. Elijah didn't move. Spit dripped from his cheek, warm and repulsive. His fingers tightened around the edge of his tray, not from anger but from restraint. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a napkin and wiped his face. One slow, deliberate motion. Then he looked Tyler in the eyes, and that gaze, calm, focused, controlled, rattled something in the air. Tyler took a half step back, just barely, not enough for most people to notice, but Elijah did. A teacher stood on the far side of the cafeteria talking to another staff member. They hadn't seen it. Kids did though. A dozen phones hovered just low enough not to get caught. Tyler shifted, his bravado starting to crack. He mumbled, "Yeah, thought so," as he turned to walk away. But Elijah spoke, his voice low and even. "Don't touch me again." Tyler turned back, face red now. "Or what?" "You don't want to find out," Elijah said without raising his voice. Camden, standing a few feet back, whispered, "Yo, chill." Tyler turned to him. "He just threatened me." Elijah shook his head. "I didn't threaten you. I warned you." There it was again, that tone, controlled, measured, but something simmered beneath it like a lock holding back a storm. Tyler didn't get it, not yet, but he was about to. The kids watching, they saw it and they didn't look at Elijah the same way anymore. No shouting, no fists, just that steady calm that unnerved Tyler in a way he didn't comprehend. But Tyler had pushed too far, and the next time, Elijah wouldn't just be wiping his face. Friday arrived quickly. Elijah walked into school as if nothing had transpired. Same hoodie, same quiet stride, same spot in the cafeteria line. But nothing was the same. By now the story had traveled. Spit in the face, no reaction, one sentence, and Tyler backed off. The entire 7th grade buzzed with it, and a few 8th graders were talking about it too. Some kids gave Elijah extra space when he passed. Others looked at him a little longer than usual, whispering behind cupped hands. He didn't care. He wasn't there to impress anyone. He just wanted to eat his lunch and get through the day. Tyler was unraveling. He'd spent all Thursday night replaying that moment. The way Elijah looked at him, unafraid, as if he didn't even need to respond. It made Tyler's skin crawl. No one had ever made him feel small like that before. In his world, you didn't let things like that slide. Respect wasn't earned, it was taken. So Tyler showed up to school Friday with a chip on his shoulder and something to prove. At lunch, he didn't wait. He marched directly towards Elijah, who was sitting alone at the edge of a table, eating a turkey sandwich and apple slices. "Hey," Tyler said. Elijah didn't look up. "Don't." One word. Firm. Final. Tyler's voice rose. "What's your problem, man? Think you're tough now, 'cause you made me look bad yesterday?" Elijah looked up, calm again. "You made yourself look bad. That was it." Tyler reached forward and shoved Elijah hard. The table shook. Apple slices rolled onto the floor. A carton of milk tipped over, dripping off the edge. A few kids stood up. Others held their breath. Phones were out again. Elijah stumbled back slightly, caught himself, and remained motionless for a moment. He stood completely still, not angry, not scared, just still. Then slowly he stepped forward. One step, then another. And Tyler laughed, nervous now, trying to maintain the act. "What, you're gonna hit me?" Elijah said nothing. Tyler swung again, not a punch, just another shove, harder this time. Elijah moved, fluid, quick, controlled. His arm came up, catching Tyler's wrist before it landed. He stepped to the side, shifted his body, and in one smooth motion he used Tyler's own weight to push him off balance. Tyler stumbled, landed on his back, his tray skidding across the floor. Gasps echoed around the room. Elijah didn't move toward him. He didn't throw a punch. He just stood there. One kid whispered, "Whoa, did you see that?" Camden's jaw dropped. That wasn't normal. Tyler sat up, humiliated, face red, shirt stained with milk, eyes darting around like a wild animal trapped in a cage. Elijah didn't say anything because he didn't need to. And that silence, that steady presence, carried more weight than 1,000 words. Coach Reyes, the assistant PE teacher, rushed over from the other side of the room. "What's going on here?" he barked. No one answered. Camden stepped forward. "Tyler started it." Reyes looked at Elijah. "You okay?" Elijah nodded. He wasn't out of breath, his hands weren't clenched, his face was calm. Reyes looked at Tyler, still on the ground. "Get up. Let's talk." "But Elijah?" He picked up his tray, retrieved the apple slices from the floor, tossed them in the trash, and walked out of the cafeteria without looking back. But what Elijah didn't know yet was how much this moment was about to shift everything. Tyler didn't show up for 5th period. Word was he got pulled into the principal's office with Coach Reyes and his mom on speakerphone. Some kids said he was crying. Others said he was yelling. Either way, he didn't return for the rest of the day. Elijah sat through class as usual. He took notes, answered when called on, and didn't bring it up. No one around him did either. But the looks, those quiet, wide-eyed glances, said everything. By the end of the school day, the video was out. Someone in the cafeteria had captured the whole thing. Not just the push, but the stance, the way Elijah moved, that sharp shift in body weight, the technique. It spread fast. Group chats lit up. Texts buzzed under desks. "New kid's a ninja. He didn't even hit him. Dude's like Jackie Chan but chill." That night, Elijah sat at the dinner table with his mom. She stirred the pot on the stove while he picked at his food. "Quiet day?" she asked. Elijah shrugged. "Same as usual." But his mom had already seen the video. One of the parents from work had forwarded it to her with the message, "Is this your son?" "Elijah," she said softly, "you didn't hurt him, right?" He looked up. "No, ma'am." She nodded, took a breath and sat across from him. "You don't ever start anything, you know that." "I didn't. But if it comes to you and you have to end it clean." "I did." She studied him for a second then smiled. "You always do." At school the next morning Tyler returned, but something was different. He walked slower, head lower, and the crowd around him thinner. Some of the kids who used to trail him in the halls now kept their distance. Camden sat at a different table during lunch. Even Diego looked away when Tyler walked by. Power shifts fast in middle school. Elijah didn't bask in it, he didn't even acknowledge it. But kids noticed. A girl from science class, Grace Whitlow, stopped him near the lockers. "Hey," she said. "Hey, you're, really calm." He raised an eyebrow. "Is that good?" "It's rare," she smiled, then walked off. Later that day during free period Tyler walked into the gym where Elijah was shooting hoops by himself. For a second Elijah thought he might be looking for round two. But Tyler just stood there. "I didn't know," Tyler said finally. "Didn't know what?" "That you were trained or whatever." Elijah bounced the ball once. "Would it have changed anything?" Tyler didn't answer. After a pause Elijah passed the ball to him. "You want to shoot or talk?" Tyler caught the ball and looked down at it. He didn't smile, didn't joke, just nodded and started shooting. For the next 5 minutes they didn't say a word, just two kids on a court trading shots, breathing the same quiet air. When the bell rang Tyler passed the ball back. "I shouldn't have done what I did," he said. Elijah held the ball in one hand, looked at him, then said, "You wanted to feel bigger." "I get it." Tyler blinked. "Yeah, I guess. You don't have to prove anything to anybody, man. You just have to stop making people smaller so you can feel taller." Tyler stood still for a second, then walked out of the gym without a word. It wasn't an apology, but it was something. But the biggest change wasn't in Tyler. It was in how people started listening to Elijah without him needing to say much at all. By Monday, Elijah's name was known in every hallway at Lincoln Ridge Middle School. Not because he talked big, not because he fought, but because of how he stood there, with dignity, with control, and turned a moment of humiliation into quiet authority. Some kids looked at him with curiosity, others with a new kind of respect. Teachers who hadn't known his name before now called on him more, not to test him but to engage him. A couple even started asking how things were going at home. He wasn't invisible anymore, but not in the way he'd feared. He didn't become popular. Elijah wasn't interested in chasing attention. But when he walked down the hallway now, people moved, not out of fear but out of recognition. And Tyler? He kept to himself after that. He didn't stop talking altogether, but the edge in his voice had dulled. He still hung out with Camden and Diego, though not as tightly. Every now and then they'd pass each other in the hall. Elijah never changed course. Neither did Tyler. But there was no tension, just space. On Thursday afternoon Mr. Langdon pulled Elijah aside after class. "I heard about what happened in the cafeteria," he said. Elijah stayed quiet. Mr. Langdon gave a small nod. "I also heard how you handled it." Elijah shifted his backpack on his shoulder. "Wasn't looking for a fight." "I know. That's what makes it stand out." He looked Elijah in the eye. "Some people shout to be heard. Others only need a whisper." Elijah gave a small smile, then turned to go. That evening at home he sat on the porch steps while his mom watered the potted plants by the window. "You okay?" she asked. He nodded. "Yeah. You seem lighter. I think people are finally seeing me. Like really seeing me." She smiled. "That's a good thing." "Yeah, I think it is." A week later something small but important happened. A 6th grade boy named Riley was being picked on outside the library. A couple of older kids had taken his backpack and were tossing it back and forth. Riley looked panicked, on the edge of tears. Elijah saw it from across the quad. He didn't rush over. He didn't yell. He walked. And the moment the older boys spotted him approaching, they stopped. One of them caught the bag midair, handed it back to Riley without a word, and walked off. Elijah nodded to Riley, who blinked up at him like he'd just seen a superhero. "You good?" Riley nodded fast. "Yeah, thanks. Next time don't wait for someone else to step in. Speak up." "I was scared." "It's okay to be scared. Just don't stay quiet because of it." Riley clutched his backpack to his chest. You're not scared. Elijah thought about that. I'm trained to stay calm. That helps. Riley smiled. Are you like a black belt? Elijah grinned. Yeah, 2nd degree. Riley's eyes widened. No way. Elijah walked away without looking back. He didn't need the moment to last forever. He just needed Riley to remember it. Sometimes standing your ground doesn't mean throwing a punch. It means knowing who you are even when the world tries to tell you otherwise. Elijah didn't fight for a title. He didn't win for a crowd. He stood tall for himself, and in doing that he gave others permission to do the same. Because real strength isn't loud. It's steady. It's patient. And when it's tested, it doesn't flinch. If this story resonated with you, hit that subscribe button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Stories like Elijah's matter because they remind us that character, not volume, is what defines a person.